Hello and welcome back for a brand new series of Game & Watches. This range consists of only 3 units, and they're all invisible. Okay, maybe not really invisible, but they sure are transparent. So, in today's episode 68, we will be looking at the super rare crystal screen series, which actually marked the end of the original LCD series of Game & Watches from Nintendo, and we will examine the very first one issued and released, Super Mario Bros. First offered for sale June 25, 1986, it is credited with selling upwards of 250,000 units worldwide, and was given the production code of YM-801. The instruction booklet, which is a massive improvement on the previous examples from Nintendo's Game & Watch series, is stark. The beautiful full-color cover, coupled with dynamic and interesting graphics, all add to the pending excitement of owning and playing this game. The table of contents, which spans an impressive 26 pages, goes on to share other vital information, such as the information on battery maintenance, and details of how to set both the time and alarm function, as well as the overview on the how to play section. There are 8 levels, or worlds in this game, and each rotation, which is called a loop, sees different obstacles appear, and there is a total of 9 loops in all. Each loop progressively becomes harder and harder, with added dangers and greater challenges, that makes this game quite unique. The game-playing characters are quite simple, with Mario looking more like the figure of Mr. Game & Watch, than the famous plumber we've come to know and love. A parchment is revealed to the player, where Princess Toadstool tells us she is from the Mushroom Kingdom, and goes on to explain how she has been kidnapped by Bowser, the king of the evil Koopa. There are 8 worlds she adds, and at the end of each an illusion or vision of her will appear and help guide Mario to the next realm. To aid in Mario's quest, stars and mushrooms will appear, use them she adds, together with all your strength and save me. I will briefly show each of the 8 worlds as they appear in the instruction booklet, and, for fun, I'll also show how my imagination once saw them. This is what we had to do, you know, back in the day, so a kinda classic and modern interpretation. The first world we see is called Canyon, with Lakitu, and Bullet Bill. This is followed up by the second world, which is oddly called Jim. This one also features Bullet Bill, and strange cross-shaped obstacles that Mario must leap, or jump over. World number 3 is called Burning Room, and shows dazzling flaming and spinning torches. These must be avoided. Sadly, the game only shows these torches as simple spinning bars with no illustration of actual flames, but here's where my imagination cuts in, having seen Mario and fire or lava many times over the years. Channel is up next. This is supposed to be underwater, with the player simply directing which channel, or tunnel Mario should swim up. Again, the gameplay lacks the details due to the LCD limitations, but in my mind I can see the gushing water and struggle quite clearly. This is followed by a world called Hop, which is actually world number 5. This really has the feel of a more traditional styled Mario jumping platform game to it, together with the cloud riding baddie called Lakitu, and, being a distance not timed event, Mario must move really quickly. World 6 is called Beam, because you have to jump from beam to beam. It's an exciting timed event, that is often more difficult than it would look at first glance, and looks similar to the next world, world number 7, which is called Maze. As the name suggests, Maze has countless passages, dead ends and false openings, together with the usual baddies, Lakitu, and Bullet Bill. But World 7 has yet another surprise. In World 7A, you're faced with a critical decision. Which of the 3 pipes will you jump down? One leads to the last world, World 8, the other 2 frustratingly take you back to the start of World 7, and you start from the beginning once again. However, as you choose your pipe wisely, you'll arrive at World 8, called Burning Road. This round is similar in many ways to the earlier, Burning Room world, where you once again face spinning flaming logs that block your way. Happily, World 8 is the most satisfying world to play. A brief overview on actually starting the game, for new or novice players, is swiftly followed by the control functionality. Then it goes on to detail the point scoring options. How to lose a life, or score a miss is next, and there's actually 6 ways to die in this game, more than any other Game & Watch. But, luckily not all methods of demise are seen in every world. The in-game bonuses, where additional points can be accrued, is explained before the Nintendo developers' helpful hints section, which nearly completes the instruction booklet. This is followed up with non-gameplay info, such as the various precaution statements. That's the starting point for the technical aspects of the gaming unit. The next 2 pages are set aside for yet further details on battery maintenance and care for the glass parts of this crystal screen game, with the last pages detailing the specifications. As you probably know by now, the entire Crystal Screen series spans only 3 units, with today's star and focus being the very first one issued. Also, as we draw ever closer to completing the reviews of the entire range of every Game & Watch ever issued, you'll likely notice that every new redesign and series is marked by the introduction of a technical feature, and the Crystal Screen series was no exception. When you first hold one in your hand, you'd be forgiven for even wondering how it might work. Being transparent, which still feels futuristic today, coupled to an ultra-thin case, the thinnest of any Game & Watch ever, is simply amazing. The ACL and alarm buttons were deemed invisible, as they were flush with the handheld's faceplate. The unit's controls and rubberized buttons screamed quality, not only in their reassuring feel, but due to their beveled and recessed crystal housings, the details are simply beautiful. A single lithium 2025, 3-volt button, or cell battery is used for the first time, replacing the more commonly used pair of LR44s. Unusually, I've decided to strip down these units, mostly because I've never seen these torn down before on any site, so I was curious, and a little nervous too. The back is held together with 8 small screws. When removed, the back lifts off with no further problems. The circuit board and CPU is attached to a golden foiled board that is populated with all the expected resistors and such like. Of real interest is the colored foil, which in this case is a rigid transparent hard plastic inlay that once again simply lifts out. The button moldings are nearly identical to the later Game Boy's style of controls, and the front is easily separated after the black border frame is removed. The speakers on all 3 of my Crystal Screens are weak. I'm not sure if that's an issue or how Nintendo intended them to sound. The glass screen is fixed. The ribbons on the top and bottom do not look like they can be removed without catastrophic damage to the unit. Super Mario Bros., the game we're looking at today, is part of the Crystal Screen series. However, if you've been following our videos, you'll know we've looked at the exact gameplay before, and while today's star and focus has a production code of YM-801, this console is by far more rare and valuable than the 1988 new widescreen version that had a similar production code of YM-105. And, you may also remember that we've reviewed the new widescreen variant here on our channel, quite recently in fact. It's episode 49, so feel free to review that, and I'll leave a link in the description below. The gameplay is exactly the same as the new widescreen version I've just mentioned, with the only difference being the incredible see-through screen. And that transparent screen sure is a fun feature, although, to be honest, I think it is much easier to play the new widescreen version. As with the gameplay in episode 49, you control the fate of Mario, and his mission is to rescue the beautiful Princess Toadstool, who is captured by the evil king of the Koopa. There are 8 different worlds to conquer, some scroll from right to left and some are stationary yet timed sessions. When all the 8 worlds are cleared, the next 8 worlds begin, in what's known as Loop 2, and there are 9 sets of loops or cycles. The worlds are Canyon, Gym, Burning Room, Channel, Hop, Beam, Maze and lastly Burning Road. The enemies to watch out for are Lakitu, a henchman of Koopa who throws a hammer from the clouds above, to hinder the path of Mario, and let's not forget infamous Bullet Bill, who simply tries to hit Mario. And due to the episode time constraints, and the vast quantity of actual gameplay, we're going to wrap up the review here, but if you're interested in a more in-depth look at all the worlds, please watch episode 49, where we cover every stage or world, and there is a handy link to this episode in the description below. By 1986, Nintendo's focus was squarely on the Famicom and Nintendo Entertainment System. The Game & Watch popularity and customers' interest in the range was waning heavily, and it's also highly likely that the development of the original Game Boy, the YM-801, was already in early development. So, as we watch the closing montage of photographs of today's star and focus, it also acts as a swan song, or farewell to the actual range of LCD Game & Watches. But, up next is the return of the segment we used to call, What in the World? This is where you'll see a small fragment of a Nintendo item in an image, and we ask you to identify it, so here it is. Any guesses? Feel free to tell me in the comments, or tune in next week to episode 69 and find out. Well, as they'd say in the cartoons of my youth, that's all folks. Obviously, please feel free to do all the normal stuff that YouTube demands, you know the drill, like, share, recommend, or even subscribe, but honestly, the most important thing for me is, I'm just glad to have you along for the ride. Thank you all so much.